Hello, my Teaserking family. Pardon me. Went to swim early. So I had that pain in my side and in my back and in my ribs and didn't know what the hell it was. Didn't sleep much, woke up and went to the pool at like 8:30 and just did a good swim and a couple of hot tubs. I got on the bike. Anyway, here's General Chow without the sauce. Here's the sauce. It's sweet and sour sauce, so I don't want it too much. So I just dip it in here. And I get the sauce, and I get the General Chow. Okay, sorry about that. So, my lock was Alabama and the Duke under yesterday. Alabama. I don't know. They can't play a first half, but then they get. I see the game's 13-0. I said, okay, I need help. I switched to this sweatshirt because my Michigan one wasn't winning, and I nailed everything just about yesterday, except for the Duke 38-20 to 58, and I had it 56 under. And one touchdown was a kickoff return. Called the Utah USC game, called the Utah upset. Had the over in the Michigan game. Had Oregon, Alabama. Had Miami of Ohio, Toledo. I had the Ohio under against Western. Lost with Texas. They did win, but we're laying too many points. Hit the Hawaii over. Hit the San Jose State over. The only over like that I lost was the UNLV Colorado State game where it was 25-23 for some reason. I think the quarterbacks might have been out. Hit the Oak State game. Lose on the Missouri over. I needed 51. They only scored 46. Not sure what happened there. And Army under. I didn't play it. Penn State, Ohio State, didn't play it. Ohio State always wins the game, and Ohio State won, and Penn State looked like shit. But I'll tell you, after watching that game, I'm betting that Michigan-Ohio State game under. They'll hold Michigan. I think what they've done is revamp their team to beat Michigan. And that's where they're at with it. So they can't stop the run against Michigan. Now they can stop the run. Quarterback's a little weak. I think the Michigan-Ohio State game now is a strong under. Michigan, I don't know how good their offense is. They seem to have like a different type of offense where these guys are running around wide open. I don't know if they stole in Oklahoma or somebody their offense, but they clearly it's not theirs. And their defense is strong. So I think Michigan, Ohio State now turns into a lock under if we get anything in the 50s. Miami of Florida beats Clemson, even with the idiot coach. So now he's going to lose getting into the playoff because he didn't take a knee. He beat Clemson. Now he's got to beat Florida State. I'm not sure if they played Duke or not. But you've got to be kidding. Gotta get my pita bread's not warm. Motherfucker. What fun is eating pita bread if it's not warm? I gotta warm it up. Hold on. I put it in the frying pan. All right, so that's yesterday. Oregon off of lost wins. Alabama revenge. I didn't realize there were 22 in revenge games. Now they're 21-2. And Bobby Ball, their next revenge games against LSU. Good luck there. Otherwise, well, Virginia beat North Carolina is kind of a strange, they're a W. And North Carolina. So this is where you've really got to be careful on the rankings. You look at the stats, gives you that North Carolina is an A team, but are they really an A team if they give up 31 points to Virginia? No, not at all. So you got to be careful there. We see Oak State really coming alive, 48-34 with a pretty good defensive West Virginia team. So we can see we're going to jump on them. We're on Duke. We're pretty much on Michigan. We've been on Miami. Utah now is like, fuck it, we're just going to win. I mean, the backup quarterback just killed USC, 34-32. That was 6.5 points. I had the under 61, so I just lost. Unbelievable. The Duke game and the Utah game, the two strongest defenses, and they gave up what did Duke give up? Duke gave up 38 points to Florida State. That's ridiculous. Anyway, let's go to the pros because we've got an hour and a half. Free play. Take Detroit and Baltimore under. You got a 19 defense against the 15 defense. Detroit's runners out. Campbell and Baltimore has no runners. J.K. Dobbins is out. Lamar stinks. There won't be a lot of points in this game. All right, let's go through the numbers. So we got Tampa Bay 2.5, 37.5. Number hasn't changed. I'm going to go through the line, then we'll go through the games. Oakland 2.5, 38.5. Now keep in mind, this is Hoyer for Oakland and Beckert for Chicago. Never heard of him. Cleveland 3.5, 40.5. Against Indy. So I would assume Deshaun Watson's playing if the number went to 3.5. I don't care. He sucks anyway. Detroit, Baltimore's 3, 43.5. That hasn't moved. Buffalo, 7.5, 41.5. So the question is, Allen was questionable, but I'm not seeing that Allen is out. Buffalo injury. Milano's out. I don't see that Josh Allen's the one that's out. That's the only one that matters. We'll go through those injuries in a minute also. Washington, 36.5 to the Giants. That's down from 40. Wow, 36.5. Howell against, it looks like Taylor. I honestly like the game over because I don't have a defense on the field. I got a 29 defense going against the 28 defense. I got an over team Washington and a Z team in the Giants, but with Taylor, they're a better team. Seattle, 9.5, 44.5, up from 7. Let's see if Metcalf's playing because he was questionable with ribs. Metcalf is still questionable. So what's going on? Arizona. Connor's out. Marlon Mack's out. And we know Kyler Murray's out. So Kyler Murray, no, he's out. I don't get this line going to 9.5. Just a second. Let me turn my pita over. Well, it's warm this time. I burnt my finger. Okay. I get 30 seconds. I go take it off. The Rams 343.5. That hasn't moved. Kansas City's 5.5, 47.5. Hasn't moved. Green Bay 1.5, 45. Hasn't moved. Philly 352.5. Went up from 51.5. Went from 2.5 to 3. And Frisco 6.5, 44. Debo Samuel's out. We're waiting on McCaffrey, which we probably won't know tomorrow. Those are your lines. Let's quickly check the injuries. All right, the mother's hot this time. Nice and toasty. Oh yeah, that's hot. Okay, so quickly look at injuries. Arizona, Buda Baker is playing with the hamstring. He's been out seems like the whole year. That's a big help. That's why I don't understand this line going to 9.5 unless Metcalf is playing. But even with Buda Baker, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Bunch of questionables. Connor's out, the running back. And Kyler Murray's out. So here it says out indefinitely. The other one said questionable, which I knew wasn't right. Atlanta. Just some nobodies. Wide receiver, linebacker out. 2 offensive linemen, defensive linemen, a linebacker, tight end, and a bunch of nobodies from August. Baltimore. Questionable. Urban, the defensive end, playing. Darby, cornerback, playing. 2 cornerbacks out and a safety out today. All new. Out hamstring, out ankle, early November ankle. Linebacker probable. Another cornerback out. This team has more injuries, and it's the same every year. I'd have to say this is probably the worst coach. I think he's worse than Belichick, this guy. I mean, first of all, he plays Lamar. What does he think's going to happen there? And then he gets all these injuries. He doesn't know how to get his team ready. Incompetent. Trade him to San Diego because their coach sucks too. Buffalo. Josh Allen probable with the shoulder, so that line's 7.5. I think it was 8. Half the team in New England's out. Let's see. Kincaid, the tight end from Utah, is playing. Milano's out, the linebacker, but I don't see Von Miller on the list. Hey, Greg and John. Happy game day. So that's the key. Josh Allen playing against New England, who sucks. Carolina is off this week, so we're not going to waste time with them. The Bears. I don't think the Bears could beat any of the Big Ten teams. I think even Illinois and Iowa would beat the Bears. Well, their regular quarterbacks suck. Now their backups suck. Hoyer against Beckert? Really? Where'd they find this Beckert guy? So the Bears, Fields is out with the thumb. Two defensive backs out. Some running back, Ron Johnson, he played for Michigan in the 70s, is out. Homer, now I think he was on Seattle. He's playing actually. I don't know what's wrong with that guy. Another wide receiver out, another running back out, defensive back out. The Bears have a lot of injuries, and even the players that they have are just terribly. This is probably the worst GM I've ever seen. So you had a chance to get rid of Fields and draft a new quarterback. You didn't even do that. So you think Fields is actually good. I don't know what you're looking at. They don't win any games. He runs around a little bit, but him running for 100 yards and they lose by 30 isn't really what you're doing. You're actually trying to win the games, not lose by 30, but your quarterback, who's supposed to be throwing the ball, is running the ball. Oh, he's Division II. Okay, I wonder. I never heard of him. That's the problem with all these North Dakota State guys. Wentz and Trey Lance. I mean, they take guys from North Dakota State, and they suck in the pros. Like, you can't find anybody. I mean, it's bad enough when you got to go to Alabama and Ohio State and get those idiots, but you telling me you can't find Frank Harris at UTSA or Brent at Tulane or Bobby's LSU guys or something? I mean, really? Cincinnati's off today. Give Joe Burrow another week. Cleveland, Deshaun Watson will play. Not Walker. Probably they would have done better with Walker than Watson. Watson's very bad. I mean, these guys used to be good when he was at Clemson, but he's not at Clemson. They're not playing Virginia and Maryland, and he's not very good. Let's see, anybody else? Amani Cooper's playing, big deal. Another wide receiver, probable, questionable. Nick Chubb's on IR. Conklin's on IR. That's really it. This is the problem with the NFL now. You know, maybe 5 guys on the team, except for the real good teams. And this is why they suck, because the talent level is so bad. Dallas is off. Denver. Has Denver won yet this year? Because they're going to win today. Safety probable, another safety probable. That's big for them. Defensive tackle probable. Lineman out for the year. Safety out. A couple of wide receivers I never heard of. Judy looks like he's playing. The key's Russell Wilson, and the key's Sean Payton. Denver won, and who the hell did Denver beat? Did they play Oakland or Chicago? Oh yeah, they beat the Bears. So they beat a team that couldn't win a game in the Big Ten. They're gonna beat another team that can't win in the Big Ten, Green Bay. The Lions. Jones out, wide receiver. Guard out. Laporta, the tight end from Iowa. They go to Iowa for tight ends. Yeah, that's a great move. He's probable. Gibbs, the running back from Alabama that sucks, is probable. Ragnow, the center, is probable. Reynolds, the receiver, is playing running back because your running back's out, is questionable with a hamstring. Branch, a defensive back from Alabama, which Tennessee put up 52 points on him, is questionable. Montgomery from Iowa State. The Bears, he was always injured on the Bears. The Bears let him go. Now he's on Detroit. He's always injured here. Great move there. And you got rid of the guy who went to New Orleans, who's now faking injury. He's faking a hamstring injury the whole year because it's not a contract year. He got paid last year, so now he'll be hamstring for 4 years. You can't guarantee these guys money because they'll just fake a hamstring injury. Why do you think there's so many guys with hamstring injuries? That's about it. Hooker out indefinitely with the knee. Well, I probably want to be getting that guy some experience because golf, can't do anything. Golf's the biggest choke. He choked in the Cal-Utah game in college, 5 interceptions where they could have won the division. Then he goes to the Rams and he chokes in the playoff game. Then he chokes in the Super Bowl. You lose to New England 13-3. You couldn't pick them apart. You couldn't read the defense. You kept running into a 6-man line. You couldn't play action pass it because you're not smart enough. Then you go to the Lions where there's no pressure, playing nobody teams, and you're winning meaningless games, and then you get into a big game and you lose it. So, yeah, I'm really a big golf fan. Green Bay. The only name we're going to know is the running back. Adam Jones, and he's questionable with this hamstring he's had for 6 weeks now. I wouldn't count on him. The rest of these guys are questionable. I have no idea. Wyatt, I think he's from Georgia. He's questionable with the knee. And Walker, I think, from Georgia is questionable with the knee. So my Georgia guys are questionable. And then Bakhtiari is always injured. Houston, I think, is off. Yeah, no Houston. Indy, we've got home dog to Cleveland. Richardson is out for the year. So they're going to be starting Minshew, who's much better. That's a good injury when you get the guy out and then the replacement's 5 times better. Nobody else worth noticing. Jacksonville's already played. Kansas City plays San Diego at home. We've got let's see. Defensive end out, offensive tackle out, wide receiver, Watson, I don't know, he's out. Nobody really big. So Kansas City, Kelsey's here, and Pacheco's here, Eclair's here, and Mahomes is there. So it looks they're pretty healthy. San Diego, Derwin James, questionable with an ankle. Joseph Day, probable with a knee, the defensive lineman. Joey Bosa, probable with the toe. Amazing he's playing. It's amazing. Hawkins, a safety, questionable. Another safety's out. A linebacker's questionable. And then Mike Williams, the receiver's out. I think this is going to be a good game. This will be a typical play the dog in the San Diego game. It'll be a 3-point game. They'll lose. I got them losing 23-21. Probably be right around there. 24-21, 27-21. All right, the Rams. Kay Williams, running back. I have no idea who that is. He's out with an ankle. Defensive back, probable Kendrick. Nose tackle, yes. But not Aaron Donald. Defensive tackle out. Skoranek, a wide receiver, questionable. Ray Rivers, running back, late November. And Stenson Benson's out with some illness, but I don't see Stafford's name on it. I don't see Aaron Donald. I don't see Cooper Kupp or the new receiver. So Rams are pretty loaded and pretty good this year. Oakland has got the Chicago game. Now, quarterback's out. Garoppolo out with the back. The only guy we know, Crosby's questionable with the knee. Bunch of nobodies out. That's it. Miami. Big game with Philadelphia. Running back Wilson, I don't know. Probable. Cornerback probable. Cornerback out. Linebacker questionable. Cornerback questionable. Linebacker Acne. I thought he was out. The running back from A&M. He's probable this week. I thought he was out for a while. I thought he hurt his knee. That's about it. Minnesota. It's just we know Jefferson's out. Nobody else matters really. Bunch of nobodies. So many bad players in this league. The Giants, Daniel Jones is doubtful, which means we get Tyrod Taylor, and I'd rather have Tyrod Taylor. Who do you think's going to win, Dolphins or Eagles? I think the Eagles will win. They're a better team. Miami doesn't win these type of games. Tua is – look at the Buffalo game. Did you think they were going to lose 48-20 to Buffalo? I knew it would be high scoring, and I bet the over in the game. But they don't even compete against good teams. Philadelphia is going to win because they can't stop them. Think of them as USC. Miami's USC. And the problem is when they play a good team who can score, they can't stop them. So look at USC yesterday. They scored, but they couldn't stop Utah's backup quarterback. Imagine if Rising was playing. They'd have killed him. So the only way you can bet Miami is over. You cannot take them. You cannot play them as a dog because they have no defense. Over under 52. Tease it to 46. 28-20 is 48. It'll be over at halftime. Barkley probable. 2 offensive linemen out. A guard, yes. A defensive back probable. Some wide receiver, Robinson, I never heard of, probable. A guard out. Another offensive tackle questionable. Another offensive lineman out. Defensive lineman questionable. Another offensive tackle out. That's what 5 offensive linemen are out. This is the Giants' problem, right? Cornerback Robinson out. Defensive back Owens out. So if we look at this, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 14 players on the Giants out. Not questionable, not doubtful, out. 14 of them. And a lot of them are on the defensive side of the ball. So when you wonder why the team sucks, because they gave their money to Daniel Jones, and then when all these guys get injured, they don't have any money to sign these guys. So they're signing the guy who works at Kroger's, the Packer, the Kurt Warner guys. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we see. Can you play defensive back for us? Hey, Alex, we came close yesterday, I saw. Duke let us down, but I was pretty excited. We had Oregon. We had, I think, Hawaii over, and all of fucking Bama came back for us. So, again, the Giants with 13, 14 guys out. And when you sign Daniel Jones, a average ACC quarterback, not a good one, for a big contract, when you sign him to a big contract, you have no money left when your ninth offensive lineman gets hurt, who are you going to sign? How much can you pay him? So you're going to get nobody. This is the problem with teams like the Giants. Any of these teams that sign Cleveland, sign Watson, this is the problem when you pay big money for quarterback, right? New England will never pay Jones. They never paid Brady. This is the problem. And then the injuries start happening. This is football. When the injuries start happening, then how much can you pay for the backup? Because you still got to pay for the injured guy, right? So when Daniel Jones gets injured, you're still paying $25-30 million, but you still got to replace him. So then you bring in Tyrod Taylor. You got to pay him $5-6 million. I had a 7-team teaser with San Diego minus 6.5 final log, and they got shut out at home by Nevada. Yeah, wasn't that like a 6-0 game? I couldn't believe what I was looking at. Yeah, I mean, I had the Utah game pegged. Utah won, and then I lost with Duke. I had Duke under, and they gave up like a kick return, and I lost on a kickoff return or something. And Riley Leonard did play, even though he was questionable the whole time. He was like 10 of 14 or whatever. Well, yeah, they're pretty bad. Nevada's terrible, so I really don't, I don't know. I hope you had Oregon and at least Alabama in that. Bobby Bow. I called that game, Bobby Bow. I had Utah. I told you. I remember your fast words. Oh, USC's going to bounce back this week. I said, are you sure? Playing my Utah team? You always must play the defense. And what's with the fucking Bama? They go down 13-0 to Tennessee. And then they roar back and win 34-20. You're like, why are they always down? They were down to A&M 16-7 or whatever. Then Milrose wakes up. What do they pay the refs at halftime? It's unbelievable. It's almost like they're doing live betting. So they get down 14-0. What would the Alabama line be? Getting plus 10? You're going to give Alabama a plus 10 against Tennessee? So if that's what live betting is, just wait for Alabama to get down and then you get them with points. So anytime you do that, I'd bet Alabama every week. I'd wait till the first quarter when they're down 10-0. Bobby Bow. Look at Bobby Bow being a man saying he was wrong. Philly's looking good. Yeah, but Bobby's not playing for the Phillies. Bama was down 13-0 yesterday. Yeah. Should have been 21. Tennessee had the ball first and goal at the 1 or 2 yard line twice and settled for field goals. So it's 13-0 Tennessee going into the second quarter. And then again, Alabama woke up at half and outscored them 27-0. I call Alabama big with live bets. Got Alabama plus 150 money line live. Well, that's good. What were the points? So if you did you get Bama in 10 points when they were down 13-0? That's what I would do. Anyway, let me just continue because we got an hour. So the Giants, bunch of trouble. Jones is out. Tyrod Taylor is the quarterback, who I think is much better than Jones. My Jets are off. I'm a little sad. New England. Jay Jones, the defensive back, and Chili Davis, the defensive back, are probable. They have so many questionables and outs. It's unbelievable. So let me quickly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 13 New England players out. 13 players out. And then there's, well, the questionables will all play. I'm not going to waste their time with that. 13 players out for New England. Yeah, they really love Belichick, don't they? And they probably sit there and see Mac Jones quarterbacking, and they probably just roll their eyes, shake their heads, and go, we're fucked. We got Mac Jones. So you're telling me the score is 13-0 and I only get Bama plus 2.5? Why, that seems pretty fucked. Wouldn't I get 13 points with Alabama if they're down 13-0? That doesn't make any sense. This live betting sounds like a scam then. All right, so New England, they got Mac Jones playing, unfortunately. 13 guys out, and they got Buffalo. So, and our buddy Bote is out with a hamstring. I think the hamstring's the new injury, because you can't prove it. It's a muscle pull, right? So nobody can really prove. Like if you have a broken ankle, you can see the X-ray. If you have a hamstring, nobody knows you have it. You just kind of limp around or something. New Orleans was Thursday night. Philly. How many of my Georgia players are playing? Goddard, probable. D. Smith, Devontae Smith, probable. I don't really count Alabama players, only Georgia players. Darius Slay, probable. Brown, probable with the hands to safety. Tupiapilupalu, probable, the defensive tackle. Jalen Carter, my Georgia guy, is questionable with an ankle. Watkins out with the hamstring. Maddox, Rogerson. So Philly's pretty healthy for this game. Pittsburgh, Freiermuth out with the hamstring. Dennis Johnson from the Celtics is probable with the hamstring. A lot of probables. TJ Watt's probable. No, Haywood, defensive tackle's out. The Niners, now I've been looking for this. Deebo Samuel, mid-November with the shoulder. Trent Williams, the tackle's doubtful. Greenlaw, the linebacker, is All-American, All-Pro, hamstring is questionable. McCaffrey with the oblique is questionable. So there's a big smackdown on San Francisco. They're at Minnesota, who doesn't have Jefferson. This should be an interesting game with the injuries. Seattle is at home, 9.5 to Arizona. They get Lockett back. He's probable with the hamstring. And a couple of questionable. Metcalf is still questionable with the ribs. So keep that in mind. Metcalf's questionable with the ribs. Charbonnet, the running back's questionable with the hamstring. Richard Sherman's he's coming back to play. So that's about it. So the key in this game's today is Metcalf, if he's or not. Hey, G. Yeah, I know you just got here. No, we're talking pro. Bobby just wanted to remark about USC Utah, but right now we're going through pros because we got an hour left. Bobby Bogut, you don't have anybody getting you gas in your car? Okay. I thought you'd have a gas station at your house. I'm sure you won't have an electric charge in your house. All right, Tampa Bay plays Atlanta. Who's bothering the professor? Scott. My Utah guy, but we're not talking Utah right now. Baker Mayfield, probable. Nelson, a linebacker, probable. Vita Vea, defensive lineman, questionable. That's about it. Tennessee, I think they're off. They're off. And then Washington's got the Giants. And let's see. Bunch of probables. Washington's playing to win. A lot of their defensive players are probable. Never heard of any of these guys. So that's what's going on. So we've got the line and we've got the injuries. So let's walk through this. Oakland 238.5 with Hoyer against Reichert or whoever for Chicago. A beggar from the Krogers is going to be their quarterback. Fields is out. Garoppolo's out. I had 27-7, but now Garoppolo's out with Hoyer. I'm going to make this like 17-3, even though Oakland doesn't have a defense. This has got to be an under. Where are they going to get points? Hoyer from Michigan State or Nate from the stock boy at Farmer Jack's. That's where I used to work. Oakland's a W team, gives up 22. Chicago's an over, gives up 29. But now they're a Z team with the Packer from the grocery store. So we got W against Z. We got a 22 against the 29. I think Oakland wins this game. Oakland and 4 is probably not bad. I think under is probably the better way to go. I don't know where you're gonna get that. How are they even gonna get first downs with these guys? What are you driving, Bobby Bo? A Bentley? Aiden O'Connell was the backup for the Raiders, but he's not playing. Hoyer's, I believe, playing. Maybe O'Connell is, but I thought it was Hoyer. But that's okay. Either one's better than the beggar from the grocery store. Cleveland, Indy. Cleveland's 3.5. You got Watson against Minshew. Pretty even there. Cleveland with the 15 defense. Indy's a 25 defense. Cleveland's an under team. Indy's an even team. Very little trend in this. I got Cleveland 17-10. I think it should be a low-scoring game with this defense. Watson's not going to generate. Chubb's out. And Minshew, he won't do much. They got Jonathan Taylor back. So I think this will be low-scoring. I don't know where you're going to get points from here, especially Indy against Cleveland. So I think Cleveland holds them down. I got 17-10 Cleveland. And that's about right. Buffalo, New England. I don't know why this is down to 7.5 if Josh Allen's playing. It looks like he is, unless anybody's heard he's not. I believe he is. We've got Buffalo, the A team, a 15 defense. New England's a W, gives up 25, has no quarterback, and Mac Jones. Trend to Buffalo, basically just betting against New England. I got 31-0 Buffalo. I absolutely don't see how New England can win if Josh Allen plays, which apparently he looks like he is. He's probable. He was questionable with the shoulder. So with that said, I need Buffalo lane 1.5 all day. Washington, an over team against the Giants, a Z team. Howell against Taylor, 29 defense against 28 defense. I like this game over, especially down to 36. Although I heard it was going to be windy there. I heard it was like 20-mile-an-hour winds. This is in New York. So Baltimore could be windy. That's really it. Indy's a dome. New England, I guess, could get windy. Maybe that's why the line went to 7.5, which really won't matter. So there could be a lot of wind in the Washington-New York game. I got 27-24 Washington with these two terrible defenses. But if the over is 36 because of the wind, you might want to stay away from that. But still, there should be points. Atlanta, Tampa, in Tampa. Both teams are under 20 defense against an 18 defense. Riddler against Mayfield. Tampa Bay's 2.5, 38. I like the game under. Atlanta plays a lot of low-scoring games, basically because they don't have a quarterback. Neither does Tampa. They played the Lions to a pretty good defensive struggle last week. It was boring as shit. Riddler's just too many turnovers, so I think you just go under in the Atlanta, New Orleans, Cleveland games pretty regularly. Detroit, Baltimore. Detroit's actually an A team, but I don't buy it because they haven't played anybody that's any good. The one team they played, Seattle, beat them 37-31. They caught KC week 1 when Kelsey got injured, so I don't even count that game. So Baltimore's a B team. Lamar sucks. Goff sucks. Detroit's a 19 defense against bad teams, not against Seattle. Baltimore's a 15. They played Cincy. They played Pittsburgh. They don't score a lot. They're not going to score a lot with Lamar. The one thing Detroit does that I've been monitoring is against these running type of quarterbacks, Riddler, Steve Young, Baker Mayfield, and Josh Love. I don't know what Josh Love is. He's not a running quarterback. Probably the only one there is Riddler's a running quarterback. Mayfield just, he's And then why aren't they using Trask? I don't understand. And then Young's waiting for the Kentucky game, I think, or the Mississippi State game. I think that's what Young's waiting for. He ain't ready for pros because that's the problem with Alabama. None of their guys are ready for the pros. They pad their stats on these weak teams. They run these routes because their receivers are faster than your secondary, and they look like they're good and they're open. Until reality sets in and they go in the NFL, they can't do that anymore. There is no New Mexico State and Arkansas State to play, and their quarterbacks fold up. So that's the thing. So I look for this to be low scoring. This is your free play under 49.5. Again, a 19 defense and a 15 defense. I got Baltimore winning 24-20. I don't even think it'll be that high. Maybe 17-14, something like that. The Rams and Pitt. Pitt's a W. Score. They give up 22. Pickett's terrible. The Rams are an under team with a 20 defense. So we got 20 defense, 22 defense. But the Rams are getting healthy. Stafford's back, and Cooper Kupp's back, and Donald's back. So this is a better Ram team. I got the Rams winning 21-10. I would think it'd be pretty low scoring, but I don't think Pitt's going to do anything. I don't think they can handle Aaron Donald, to tell you the truth. Pickett, what's he going to do? He won't do anything, but Stafford with Kupp and the other guy, look for them to be able to score on Pittsburgh, and it's in LA, so they get the time change. So look for the Rams. Seattle and Arizona. Now, this is a tough one. We got Dobbs against Geno Smith. We got a W team, Arizona, who's been struggling lately. Seattle, who's good, but they got Lockett's playing injured, and then we don't know about the other receiver. I want to say, Metcalf. So Metcalf is still questionable. So if Metcalf were to play, I would like Seattle. I do not like this 9.5 number. But since I've been waiting for Metcalf to play, I haven't played this game. I got Seattle winning 31-10. Arizona is a 27 defense. Seattle's a 22. Over under 44. Again, if I got Metcalf, it's probably an over. I got Lockett. I'm sure they got other receivers. That Jones Gnibba from Ohio State's nothing. Wasted pick. Anybody from these Ohio State and Alabamas are all wasted picks. They don't play well in the pros. Green Bay, Denver. Green Bay, an even team, gives up 23. Denver's an over team, gives up 33. But they're starting to score more with Sean Payton. They've got a lot of injuries to defense, but it seems like a lot of them are coming back. They have a lot less injuries this week. Love against Wilson. Love's terrible. Teaser edge to Denver at home. I can't imagine Love being a road favorite winning the game. That is not going to happen. Yes, I did say Lions Ravens under for free play. Yes, I said that yesterday with Ella fucking Bama. Yeah, that's our free pro play. I've actually got 4 locks going today, 2 lock plays. 2, 3, 4. Yep. So I got a lot of good plays going. I was really hot yesterday. Finishing up with Utah, but Oregon was good. Alabama was good. Michigan over. What a weird spread that was. 46. I went over 40. I had it at the 5-minute mark of the third quarter, I think. So I got Denver winning this game 27-21. I think it's an over game. But we got to be careful with Love. He's not very good. Green Bay is a 23 defense. Denver's a 33. So that's one reason I like the over. Love should be able to score something on them, but without Jones, Green Bay's nothing. Love just checked down 2 screens, and Jones ran for 2 touchdowns against the Bears. Pulls his hamstring in the game. Hasn't played since. There's nobody else on the team. Love stinks. So I don't see how they're favored in this game. I mean, Denver wins the game straight out. I got 27-21. And I think it's probably an over. Also. Again, I'm not sure what I'm going to get from Love, but I think I can get – well, I think I'm going to get 21, but I'm going to get at least 27 from Denver. Just because Denver's defense is that bad, I think Love scores something. But it's a tough one to play over, but I definitely think Denver is a good home dog, even though you've got this terrible defense. That's the only pause is the defense is so bad. San Diego, KC. San Diego, an even team, probably with the worst coach, and except for the Miami, Florida coach in the league. KC's an A team. KC's minus 5.5. San Diego's defense at 26. KC's is a 15. KC is a very strong defensive team. Normally, I would play this game over. I have no desire to play this game over. Although I think it gets there. I got KC winning 23-21. Big trends, both teams. Bet on San Diego, bet against San Diego. Mahomes and Herbert. So this should be the best game of the day. I like the dog here. I think I'm taking the dog versus the over. I think San Diego plays close game. They play Kansas City twice a year. This is do or die for them. So I just see this as the typical, and Kansas City's not running away with it. They're not playing like that. They're playing more defense. Herbert will be able to score, 23-21 KC. Miami, Philly. Miami, an over team, gives up 26, plays very high-scoring games. Philly's a B team, not much defense, give up 21 a game. Tug against Hurts. 2 bad Alabama quarterbacks going against each other. Philly at home. Philly's defense has been lacking. They're not the same because Jim Schwartz is on Cleveland. So I Philly's laying 3.5, 52.5. I think the score is 35-31. I like the game over. I would not play Philly, but I can't trust Miami because they don't have a defense, but I can trust them to score. And Philly's not playing that really shutdown defense either. So I think Miami can score on Philly, and Philly's going to light it up against Miami. And last but not least, Frisco, Minnesota. Frisco 6.5, 44. Purdy against Cousins. Big trend on Frisco. Minnesota's not a good home dog. Minnie's actually an under team. They're giving up 23, but the Niners are an A team and only give up 15. It's going to be hard for Minnesota without Jefferson to do much here. I think Frisco puts a lot of pressure. Bosa is playing. They're going to miss McCaffrey. Well, McCaffrey's questionable, and the game's Monday night. They're going to miss Deebo Samuel, but they have Kittle and other receivers, so I don't think they'll miss him as badly as if they were to miss McCaffrey. So this is a game that we really can't jump on because we don't know about McCaffrey, unfortunately. I got the Niners 24-7. They're a 15 defense, so I don't see Minnesota doing shit. They're off of a loss. So I think you could probably play Frisco as long as Purdy's playing, even without McCaffrey, but I think he'll play. I think it's a Niners, absolutely. So your free play Lions in Detroit against Baltimore under 49.5. They've been playing under ball against these weak offenses, and I think it'll continue. I think Baltimore is the best defense they've seen. They're not going to do anything against this. I got 24-20, but I don't even think they get close to it. I think I'm more looking at 17-13 than I am 24-20. Now that I'm digesting it, but Goff, 2 interceptions at least. Lamar, 2 interceptions at least. We just hope they happen on the positive side, so it's a long field. We don't want them to do it at their own 10-yard line. Detroit will go for it on 3 times and then not get it. So that's what you have. So Oakland 17-3, Cleveland 17-10, Buffalo 31-0. Washington 27-24, Atlanta 20-17, Baltimore 24-20, the Rams 21-10, Seattle 31-10. But be careful without Moncrief. Denver 27-21, Kansas City 23-21, Philly 35-31, and the Niners 24-7. That's your place for today. We've done the injuries. So we got either Hoyer or O'Connell. I don't know who the starter is for Oakland. It doesn't really matter. They're going against the stocker at the grocery store for Chicago. Watson's playing for Cleveland against Minshew. Allen against Jones, Buffalo, New England. Howell against Taylor, Washington, the Giants. The Riddler against Mayfield, Atlanta, Tampa. Riddler's been throwing a lot of interceptions. Goff against Lamar in Detroit, Baltimore. Pickett against Stafford, Pitt, and L.A. Dobbs against Geno Smith, Arizona, Seattle. We got Love against Wilson, Russell Wilson, Green Bay, Denver. Herbert, Mahomes, Tagliavua, and Hurts. And then Purdy against Cousins. So we'll see the real Cousins when they put the pressure on him. And he falls down a lot and fumbles a lot. He's terrible. I can't believe he's in the league. So that's the pros. Any questions? Any comments? So we really hammered the college yesterday. I was so proud of my Oregon. My Alabama lock. My favorite teaser I hit was Miami of Ohio plus 8.5 with Ohio under 58. And I won it. I love winning these MAC ones. Texas didn't really show up. I guess their quarterback got hurt. I loved hitting the Hawaii, New Mexico over. That's the beauty of my scheme is once I identify the teams, most of these went over, did what they were supposed to do. Utah State, San Jose State. The only one that didn't was Colorado State, Vegas. And it's just you can't help it. They go for the fourth downs, and if they don't get it, it really makes it an under game because they drive down to the 10. They go 4th and 2. They don't get it. It's a turnover. The other team gets the ball, but they got the ball at their own 10-yard line. So they got to go all the way down the field, which takes time. And then if they go for fourth downs, that's what got me in that Ohio State Notre Dame game. Ohio State gets to the 1, doesn't make it. It's just like a fumble. Then they go to the 10 on a different drive, and they don't make it, and they go for it, and they don't get it. Well, that's why we didn't get over. If they score touchdowns on those, it's an over. Unfortunately. So I think that's what's happening. These idiot coaches going for the fourth downs, not getting it. I very rarely see them actually work. I think at the bigger games against the better teams, they don't have a chance. The other thing I gotta ask is, what the fuck is going for 2? Who was it? I don't know. I was watching a game, and they're down. They cut the lead to 8, 28-20. I don't think it was Miami and Clemson. Maybe it was. So they're down 8. They go for 2. They don't get it. Now what do? Why wouldn't you have kicked the extra point and be down 7? And then if you want, you tie it. You can just kick the extra point. Because now you're down 8 and you didn't get it. You got to go for 2 again, get it to tie. So what is the strategy of going for 2 when you're down 14, when you've cut the lead from 14 to 8, kick the extra point for 7? And yet I see these guys do it all the time, and it scratches my head. Why are you going for 2 when the 1 makes you down 7? That would be the logical thing. What are you doing? So I can't figure out any logic by these coaches. Why wouldn't you kick the extra point? I'm now down 7. Now I come and score. Kick the extra point. Now we go to overtime. Why would I go for 2 down when I'm down 4? When I'm cut the lead from 14, it should be 14-7. It's 14-8. What are you thinking there? This is the problem with the league. You have terrible coaching. So what are you going to do with it? All right. So that's our football. I think there is wind at the Giant game, which maybe there's wind in New England, Baltimore. That's about it. It's not windy here. I was out. Anything else? 12:20 before I go to gold, but I want to cover football. I haven't written next week's schedule yet. Let's superficially look at that. So this is next week's college football. If you have questions on pros, feel free to ask. This is just kind of looking at Tech, New Mexico State. We like New Mexico State there. Liberty, Western Kentucky's a good game. They get all this Conference USA shit. So there's going to be a Tuesday game and 2 Wednesday games and then a Thursday game, Syracuse, Virginia Tech. So this is more Syracuse's speed against Virginia Tech. They got outclassed against Florida State and Clemson and those teams. Even North Carolina killed them. Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Duke and Louisville. That should be a good game. Take Duke. Florida State gets Wake Forest. They'll kill them. Clemson against NC State. North Carolina, Georgia Tech. Virginia, Miami. We got UMass against the Army. Interesting. Houston, Kansas State. So Houston looked good against Texas at home. Kansas State looked great against TCU at home. This game's at Kansas State. Oklahoma against Kansas. Good game. West Virginia, UCF. Indiana, Penn State. So Penn State now off of a loss at home against the worst team in the Big Ten, Indiana. Look for the line to be in the 30s, and you can't bet it. But Penn State should kill them, but they looked terrible yesterday. I thought the quarterback was good. He looked like shit yesterday. Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan, Oregon, and Utah. Ooh. This game is in Utah. They got Oregon 3.5-point favorites at Utah. This is an under game, unless Cam Rising plays. Interesting game. Oregon and Utah. Good fucking game. Utah just beat USC. This is the problem. So Utah beats UCLA. They beat USC. They lose to Oregon State. Now they get Oregon. And they'll have 2 losses, but look who they played. They played 4 great teams. What's Alabama doing? And you know, this is the problem. So Alabama makes the playoffs because they're 1-loss team. And here Utah or Oregon is the 2-loss team is 20 times better. Had a 20 times harder schedule, let's say that. I mean, this is just a incredible league here. 8-9 deep. Strong teams, playoff teams. So Oregon laying 3.5 at Utah. Gotta take Utah there. They just handled SC's offense. They're going to handle Oregon's and to get the game at home. Maybe Cam Rising plays now because the USC doctor, they've just played USC. So maybe they'll let him play. I'd be suing that doctor. Oof. Let's see. Georgia, Florida, the biggest cocktail party. Georgia minus 20.58. Brock Bowers is out. I think we're back to betting this game under, betting Georgia under. I got WhatsApp, but I got the wrong WhatsApp. I wanted to get it from Daria. Just a second. That's Irina. I got to go to Romania and meet the baby. So, yes, I was looking at next week's. So Georgia, Florida, we should have another unders. Florida on here. I'll have to check for Florida, but I think this is a low scoring. You've got a 58.5. That's under 64.5 in this game. Never get there, especially with Brock Bowers out. Florida's got a pretty good defense. This is our big under, I think. Pittsburgh, Notre Dame. Interesting. Michigan State goes to Minnesota. They can get their ass kicked there. Miami of Ohio and Ohio. This looks like an under. Iowa State gets Baylor. BYU goes to Texas. USC gets Cal. This could be our lock over if it's in the 60s. Give it to me 66, 67. Now, what you got to watch, I don't have a line now, right? It's Sunday afternoon. There's no line on this game. But there will be tonight. And if it's 66, I'm posting it. This is where it's going to start at 66, go to 70. Now, they might start it at 79. They switch quarterbacks. They're very over. USC, we know, can't stop a high school team, but they can score. This game will be a 90. Tulane at Rice is a good game. Tulane's very good. Rice is getting better. Troy at Texas State's a good game. Washington, Stanford. Washington should kill them, especially as bad as Washington played last night. The Air Force, Colorado State. Just a second. All right. Air Force, Colorado State. We got to check Colorado State. Air Force's quarterback's out. Tennessee and Kentucky. This is a good game. They got Tennessee 3.5. This is a solid under. After watching Tennessee, their defense looked really good against Alabama most of the game. Kentucky's got a pretty good defense also. Tennessee's quarterback looked better than he's looked in a while. The guy from Milton from Michigan. Ohio State at Wisconsin. Oof. This is another under. Ohio State looks like shit. They can't. Their quarterback's terrible. They have a strong defense. Wisconsin, they get so many players injured. I don't know what their deal is. Probably an under if we can get in the 50s. Colorado, UCLA. Coach Prime going to UCLA, games at UCLA. Look out for this defense. Colorado is going to get buried with this defense. This defense and the Utah defense, Colorado is going to be lucky to get 14 points. Much like the Oregon game when they lost 42-6. This won't surprise me either, because this is a game where UCLA's young quarterback looks like a superstar because Colorado can't stop him. Very interesting. Washington State, Arizona State, Cincinnati, Oak State should be a good game. Oak State's been turning it on lately. Vegas and Fresno State, good game. Oregon State and Arizona. This will be a tough game because Arizona is playing strong defense. They're making Oregon State a 5-point favorite. Ooh, I don't know about that. Arizona went to Washington State 44-10. Now, I'm hoping that I talked Nick out of betting Washington State. I told him to look at last week. And the reason I did was Arizona beat them 44-6. I said, you really want to bet Washington State at Oregon? So I had a big bet on Oregon, so I was hoping that would get them to realize that. And San Jose State, Hawaii. Ooh, this is a nice over for the midnight over. And then let's go to the pros next week. It's funny, we didn't even start this week yet. Next week we got Buffalo, Tampa. What's hard about this is the injuries. New Orleans 1.5 against Indy. Jacksonville 1.5 at Pitt. Here I like Pitt. Texas 3 against Carolina. Or Houston. Houston against Carolina. Philadelphia 6 over Washington. Dallas 6 over the Rams. I like the Rams there. Miami 13 over New England. Wow. The Jets 3 over the Giants. That's a joke. 3? Fuck, they'll win by 20. Tennessee 1 over Atlanta under. Green Bay 1.5 over me. Seattle 1.5 at Seattle against Cleveland. Kansas City's at Denver. And, good game here. Frisco 6 over Cincinnati. Interesting game. We've got Baltimore 7.5 at Arizona. The Chargers might actually win a game. They're 9.5 over the Bears. I mean, they might actually cover the 3.5. And the Lions 7.5 over Oakland. Interesting. So that's what we have, boys and girls, today and then next week's quick look. So what we try to do is we look at college and we try to learn. How did the A versus A's do? How did the overs do? Rice Tulsa was an over 58. They scored 52. It was a push. BC Georgia Tech over was a 57, and they played a 61. So they went over. A against A. You could have teased it. That was the game. So Penn State, they're down 20-6, gets a touchdown. It's 20-12, and they go for 2. And if you miss, you got to go for 2 again and hope you make it to tie the game. Although they did it with 10 seconds left, so I don't know why they're going for 2. With 10 seconds left, just kick your extra point 16 or 20-13, and that's it. Excuse me. I couldn't do that yesterday. My chest hurt so badly, or my ribs. I think I hurt my ribs, but they seem fine now. The only other question I could have had is I could have had gout in my ribs. That went away. What's with Mississippi State playing Arkansas 7-3? What was that? Well, that's the first quarter score. That's the final score. Baylor, Cincinnati, 32-29. Baylor, they're starting to come on. Memphis. I didn't get a lot of sleep. Memphis, UAB, 45-21 for Memphis. So we had an A playing over. The Z against the W Bowling Green, Akron, and it goes 41-14. So that goes over with two bad defenses because, again, we're looking – the over-under on the game was 37. They played a 55. Excuse me. Let's see. We've got South Carolina over against Missouri, a B. I thought would go over. It was only 57. I needed 51. I only got 46. There's always that. They went for fourth. There was the turnover. That's because they should score more, but then it's the holding call, the turnovers, the going for it on fourth downs that really screw you up. Oh my God. I'm going to be taking a nap soon. Well, I already went to the pool, so now I can go to sleep. Buffalo, I didn't bet it, but I loved it over Kent State with the Z team. Buffalo, the over team against the Z team, and they won 24-6. They didn't go over 44, even though Buffalo has a 32 defense. Kent only scored 6 points on it. It shows you how bad Kent is. Miami against Toledo, I had the dog. A versus A, I had the dog and I won. Hawaii, New Mexico, over. Over was 60. They scored 63. I won with that over. Over Colorado State, Vegas, 62. I got 56. I get 48. That game, I'm a little surprised they didn't go over. There might have been an injury. Vegas, maybe their backup quarterback isn't that strong. I'm not sure. Utah State, San Jose State over makes it easily. They put up a 63. Their over-under was 66, so that was 60. Let's see. Duke, Florida State. That wins. Florida State wins by 18, but it was 14. Duke and 20 is a winner. If A against A dog. Especially a big one like that. There's still Duke's an A team. Michigan 49-0. The A beat the E. Bobby was right. LSU 62-0. We thought that LSU would get the over by themselves, and they did. Over under was 59, so you needed 53. You got 62. Clemson and Miami, A versus A. Tease the dog. You win with Miami. They won 28-20. USC, Utah, the under team against the over team. Utah would be an A team once they get the quarterback. Great defense, and they cover as the dog. And that's about it. So that's what so you want to recap what worked, what didn't, why didn't it work? So I'll go into the couple of those over games, like the Missouri, South Carolina, and try to figure out how do we score 46? We needed 51. We just lost by one touchdown. So I assume was going for it on fourth down at the 5 and not getting it. So that's what we have for this week. We'll look at last week's. We'll look at next week's shortly, as soon as I take my nap. And we've got the pros. So, again, the free pick, Baltimore over. We have 20 minutes to go. Anything else? So I'm going to go show Mark McGuire again.
Here at Subaru of Ann Arbor, we love supporting our furry friends. That's why we're accepting donations for the Humane.
This is foretelling us the coming of a new...
Let's see, where did I want to go? I think the 9-minute mark.
Episode back in 2023 of this year, when Basel III NSFR standards were enforced, you figured that by the end of the year, which is the end of 2023 right here, we would see real physical gold and maybe even silver prices begin to emerge.
Yeah, Shane, and in fact, just as we were discussing before we started the recording here, the real subject actually of this episode is to look at why the COMEX, the only non-compliant gold and silver market exchange, if it wants to survive, that is, will be forced to comply with Basel III NSFR conditions in 2024 and ultimately become physically backed. And we'll look at how this effect will run over the Fed in 2024. Sure.
So that's the good news. So that's always the question I get asked. When are we going to get a real gold price? And he's just saying that's what's going to blow up COMEX. So we're basically saying, why the fuck is there a paper market? And we're waiting for it to go away. And that's really what we're asking. So that's the answer that we've all been looking for. That's the riddle. So what he's saying is it'll blow up. We'll get physical gold and silver prices, which are far, far higher than what we've got now, and that's the whole point. So that's what we're looking. So let's get into a few minutes.
I know you had some shorter term subscriber questions, Shane, so we can put them in the right order.
All right. Yes, Andrew, we're really looking forward to that. But first, given the massive volatility we've experienced, we've had so many questions from subscribers that are looking for guidance on what you are seeing right now and what we should expect more in the immediate future here.
Yeah, a really good idea at this point. Let's start by looking at the conclusion. This is the elephant in the room for most people. Let's look at the conclusion of September's month-long, right from the beginning of September, right to the end of September, this COMEX-driven paper gold and silver market selling, which actually wrong-footed and disheartened so many people. But let's observe how under the radar of the momentum-driven sell the rally stance that had been created, we had evidenced a distinct bullish change in market behavior. With these myopic traders who they'd failed to detect this change, and as they raced headlong into and beyond the insider's predetermined multi-billion-dollar options expiry trap. So to answer the question, we'll also look at why this change in market behavior is not just another short-term cycle, because that's what people think. It'll just go on and on and on forever. 50 years of it, you can understand people's thinking. Now, siloed COMEX momentums, whether they're long or short, doesn't matter where, they're always wrong at both ends of a synthetic paper market rally or sell-off. Nothing to do with supply-demand of.
Save big on mattresses and sleep essentials at Casper.com or a store near you.
Yeah, we all want to hear commercials.
Why this change in market behavior is not just another short-term cycle, because that's what people think. It'll just go on and on and on forever. 50 years of it, you can understand people's thinking. Now, siloed COMEX momentums, whether they're long or short, doesn't matter where, they're always wrong at both ends of a synthetic paper market rally or sell-off. Nothing to do with supply-demand of real physical. So by design, following being banned in 2013 from being able to even access the physically deliverable global over-the-counter foreign exchange markets, US traders have naturally become blinkered to what is really occurring in the 10 times larger, and now, since the 1st of January, as you say, NSFR-compliant deliverable over-the-counter gold foreign exchange markets. Now, in any marketplace, whether it's a village market stall selling farm produce or an exchange selling gold, it makes no difference. Every transaction has a buyer and a seller, and the price is determined by an equitable balance between supply and demand on that day. However, not so in the COMEX Gold Exchange, where the goods are never intended to be physically delivered. They're just temporarily loaned, and get the word, loaned to a speculator on margin who hopes to return the goods at a more favorable price than he borrowed it for. Now, that could be higher or lower. It was never intended to be a physical delivery. But the house can, at will, generate as much or as little of these loaned promises sufficient to control the supply-demand price. Distort it, in other words. So as nothing ever gets delivered, the supply-demand balance is rigged synthetically to very closely resemble a casino's 95% win ratio. Hence, we call it the casino that it is. And yet outside the COMEX casino bubble, led by the speculators, are completely unaware they're merely trading against the unseen, carefully managed physical leg that the house has lodged outside the containment bubble. In other words, they just see the half of the picture that the house wants them to see, and the reports that we get prove that. And we look at that in a little while, but this is fine. This is a fine balancing act. And it's really limited, though, to how many speculators can be fooled into borrowing these brilliant hedges from the market-making insiders. And with no visibility into what these short bets actually represent, namely a myopic bet against these house-held hedges, they don't even realize that they are, the multi-year speculator-powered wash and rinse cycles have been enabled since the COMEX was formed over 50 years ago. But as we will assess, thanks to Basel III compliance now forcing the long foreign exchange leg of the COMEX shorts that the speculators see, that's all they see. But that hedge is actually, that COMEX position is a hedge against a real physical position, which have become deliverable. And the closer we approach the end of the fourth quarter, our very well-connected first-tier liquidity providers report that the physical markets relied upon to underpin this fractionally settled COMEX trade will become far too thin to be able to last beyond the fourth quarter of this year. And this is 100% driven by an unfactored physical market phenomena. Since the 1st of January, Basel III NSFR regulations have forced global spot market liquidity providers to have the physical bullion on hand to deliver on request, T+2. That means I go to the spot market, I demand delivery, I get it in 2 days, assuming it's not bilaterally settled at a higher price because it's a larger order. So within reason, I get it. Now, what that does is eliminate the historical friction of a central bank or a sovereign demanding physical delivery from this 10 times larger than COMEX foreign exchange global price-setting gold market. And therein lays the problem for the scope of the COMEX-driven wash and rinse cycles. Each ounce, kilo, and ton of gold underpinning fractionally held COMEX hedges that exits the CME LBMA ring fence further limits the scale of these historical wash and rinse cycles.
Too heavy for me.
Competing central banks and sovereigns are actively converting paper market synthetic output prices into physical and removing it from this CME LBMA ring.
So you can see what's going to happen. It's blowing up COMEX. They won't be able to price fix it down. The U.S. dollar goes out, as I've said, and gold goes through the roof. And this is what's happening. I'll play one more segment. Sorry, I'm just very tired. I didn't sleep well. My side and my chest, my ribs were bothering me. But after going to the pool, soaking in a hot tub and doing some running and swimming, I feel a lot better, and then getting some food in me. So, segment.
To collapse the entire daisy chain of cartel too big to fail banks. Well, full circle, back to where gold was bailed out 20 years before at $300 gold. However, as we highlighted at the time, this was to prove to be the last globally coordinated central bank assisted intervention, and it was the catalyst that forced the Bank of International Settlements to bring forward and implement these Basel III net stable funding ratio standards, which finally took effect at the commencement of 2023 trading. In fact, from this point forward, every single bullion bank and the BIS moved to go long to physical gold, well ahead of net stable funding standards being imposed in January of this year.
Now, Andrew, I'm pretty sure this next question is on the top of everyone's mind right now as they're listening to you here. With the Fed being the only central bank short gold, where does it leave the Fed?
Yeah, good question, Shane. The Fed openly intervenes in the dollar crosses. Of course, they do in all the foreign exchange crosses, whether it's the dollar euro, dollar yen, whatever it is, on a regular basis, and in compliance with each other. But with gold also a foreign exchange cross against the dollar, the Fed relies on paper gold to manage the dollar against gold. And this is what led them into making this catastrophic error in March 2022, when they employed paper gold to fight against Russia, backing the ruble-denominated energy trade with physical gold. And get the difference. The Fed was selling paper gold while Russia was accumulating physical gold in exchange for oil commodities, severely impacting this 100-to-1 ratio. So you've got a double whammy going on here. And this ill-advised sanction pushback evidenced the Fed taking on the entire load of these paper market short bets, with every single other central bank except the Fed shedding paper gold exposure against themselves. They didn't want to be involved in a short position against gold. So really, to sum this up, the month-long Fed-driven action that we evidenced throughout all of September was 100% driven by the Fed, who view gold as increasingly competing with what we call the three-card treasury shuffle. So where they issue treasuries and you've got it competing. So you don't want that, the gold competing against them. So really, gold rising, a rise in the gold price is never really looked on favorably by the Fed insiders attempting to cap gold in the paper markets. This management is reliant and limited on how many speculators can take the bait. I just want to make it so clear so people understand it's that simple. Bottom line, these foolish speculators had stretched the paper to physical market gold market disconnect to such extremes that this had presented us an opportunity not seen since the lows were made in the 1600s in November of last year, when the Bank of International Settlements squared all their positions. Now we have reached that inflection point where really the 100-to-1 leverage simply has to be unwound.
Yeah, no, Andrew, this sounds very bullish going.
Oh, as you can see, they're doing the paper dance, the Fed. This is why when he says there's a plan and this whole great reset and everything, it's bullshit. These guys are idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. There's no plan. The gold price will go to the moon very, very soon. The Fed's holding paper. So I guess the Fed in their mind goes, oh, we'll blow it up and then we'll go ahead and buy, and then we'll do CBDCs. And they're so stupid it won't work if they do it, and the banks won't let them do it. So I don't know what they're trying to do. Who blows up your economy so you can be a globalist and we can have a one world country, one country, one money, and that'll never happen because you get the Russians and the Chinese with gold. So if anybody does it, it's going to be them, but it'll be gold-backed currency, not CBDCs. So that's what we have. I think I'm really tired, so I think that's it. Let's watch some football. And go from there. If I hear anything, I'll come back on later. I need a nap. I slept for 2 hours. I apologize. And then I wasn't feeling good, so I went to the hot tub and to the pool. And I'm tired from that, and then eating. So anyway, good luck today. Your free play is the Lions. The late game is, I definitely like that Miami-Philly game over. We don't know what to do with Frisco because we don't know if McCaffrey's playing. Denver, I think, will win. And we'll go from there. All right. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Take care and enjoy today if you can. I know it's pretty bad, this football now. It's just too many commercials, too many bad calls by the – you know what I really hate, and then I'll leave, is this bullshit bailout. So it happened in the Ohio State game. It's 4th and 15. No, it's third and 15. It's the play that Penn State ran back for a touchdown, and they call defensive holding on, so the guy says, yeah, it was holding, but it's not a play you call. The quarterback hadn't thrown the ball to the guy. There's always contact because they don't call it all the time. And the problem is it's a bailout because the guy never even threw the pass. He got sacked, fumbled, and they went in for a touchdown. And you're bailing them out with a cheap holding call that was very minor, that should never have been called. And you got to understand the situation. It's third and 15 at the 30-yard line. You don't make that call. Maybe if the ball's thrown to him and it's clear he's tugging on the jersey and he can't get to it, okay. Otherwise, you don't make that call if he doesn't throw the ball. That call is only made if he throws it. So you're bailing out the offense with the bad call in a situation that you should never make the call because of what's going on. Anyway, I think that's about it. So look for gold to go up. Buy as much as you can. You got maybe a month or two. By January, it's going. So we can see the handwriting on the wall for Comex now. Finally, because people see it for 50 years, going, "Why should I buy gold?" And they're right. I mean, why? But now we see the why. We've got the why. It's like the Bears Oakland game. Bet it under. Why? Because the quarterbacks are both out. So you then have a reason to bet it. So that's the reason to buy gold, is Russia, China, and the fact that the central bank is trying to keep the price down, and it's coming out soon where it's blowing up because the whole world wants gold because they're all in paper. See, I think the Charles Schwab guy and the Soros guy wanted to bankrupt everybody, but what they didn't understand is gold. So they didn't realize that if you have gold, you're out of the system. You don't get reset, and you don't have to listen to these idiots. And it won't be a one world government because Russia and China have gold, so they're on their own. The rest of these people are in whatever currency. So that's what's happening. So anyway, good luck today. Let's enjoy some football. I'll be back probably normal time tomorrow, 12-ish, between 12 and 1. I'll probably take a nap. I think I'll make an omelet later. I got some chicken, so I'll probably do that for dinner. But anyway, go enjoy the games. www.teaserking.com. I got 4 locks going today. One's already off, and 1, 2, and then 3 are this afternoon. So you can still get the 3 locks. You just missed the first one. All right, everybody. Have a good day. Good luck to you. Take care. www.teaserking.com.